It's the Progress Pod, a production of the Franklin County Coalition for Progress. I'm Pete Mazzoni. When Chambersburg's North Square Farmers Market opens this Saturday, May 26th, it will mark a milestone. 18 years ago, the market started up in the Southgate Shopping Center parking lot with just a handful of vendors. This year marks the 10th anniversary of the market's North Main Street location. And each year has seen growth in vendor numbers and popularity among the community. For many, it's become an important part of their Saturday summer morning routine, where it's not only about fresh local food, but about getting out, seeing friends and neighbors, and enjoying downtown Chambersburg. Our guests today have all played major roles in the growth and the success of the farmers market. With us, we have Julia Lehman, coordinator for North Square Farmers Market, Chris Mayer, director of Fulton Center for Sustainability Studies at Wilson College, and Amr Chowdhury, vendor and owner of the Falafel Shack. Thanks, everyone, for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So let's get started with the history. Chris, you and I were kind of having a conversation about the founding of it. Let's get back into that, if you could.
Sure, yeah. In 2000, a sociology class at Wilson College noted through their work that there wasn't access to fresh fruits and vegetables for the downtown residents in Chambersburg. So through their efforts, they started the Southgate Farmers Market in 2000. So for a number of years, Fulton Farm and a few other vendors, as you said, were the primary vendors at the market. Mm-hmm. I came to work at Wilson in 2007, but quickly saw that in order for the market to stand on its own two legs, it needed to come under a wider umbrella. And I approached the Downtown Business Council at the time. They agreed to take on the market responsibilities, maintenance, and those kind of organizing roles. And through that work, we're able to hire a market manager and then subsequently move the market to North Square in 2008.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And then your title, what do you do at Wilson specifically? Do you work with the Fulton Farm? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Fulton Farm was one of the initial vendors at the market in 2000 and had been at the market ever since. But in 2016, because of the leadership at the market itself was just exploding. It was obvious that the community was now embracing this, and it was time for Fulton Farm to kind of take a step back,
right,
and allow the other farmers who were attending the market to do their thing. Mm-hmm. Wilson, though, is interested in keeping a role at the market. We're an educational facility. And so it's important for us to be there and support the market in that capability. Mm-hmm. So last year we had an intern who did a community health initiative at the market, outreach and such. And then we're continuing that with a service learning project with our nursing program this year.
Okay, great. And the Fulton Farm still runs the CSA?
Fulton Farm will be operating a CSA-style farmers market stand on campus this year. Yes, it does.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. We have a surprise drop-in guest, everybody. Okay, you got to be on a mic, though. We can't have you... you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? You got to be right up on that sucker, as close as you can be.
Okay, I am Jessica Larkin. I have been at the North Square Farmers Market for about 4 years now. I have also interned at Fulton Farm and am a student at Wilson College. And I also work for the Falafel Shack.
All right. What a gang we've got in here today. Well, thanks for joining us. We're glad to have you. Let's go over to you, Julia. How did you get involved? And just let's start the story there.
Okay, sure. So when I first moved to Chambersburg, I was a market goer at Southgate Farmers Market. So as I did that years and years and years, it went through, I think when I was, Cindy Mary, I think was the market manager when I started going as a customer. And then when the market moved, Karen Latzbaugh and her husband were taking over the market at that point. Mm-hmm. It was branded as North Square Farmers Market. And I'm not sure how many years they were, or Karen was the market coordinator there. But when she ended up, their family moved, and they were looking for a market coordinator. And I raised my hand. I said, I'll do it. And they said, no, you don't want to do that. I said, no.
So you were warned.
I said, I had to elbow my way in. But yeah, so I became the market coordinator back then, and worked with the market committee, and a lot of the committee members are still currently the committee members. So there's some longevity there, and some history with where the market came from and where it is and where it's going.
Okay, great. And let's get over to you, Amr. When did you become aware of the farmers market? And now Amr has a very booming business that's growing, the Falafel Shack. So we're all happy to have that. So if you could talk a little bit about how you got started and how you got involved with the farmers market.
Sure, thank you. So we moved to Chambersburg in 2008, and the first weekend, my wife Yasmina and I, we were yard selling and also asking people, is there any local farmers market around here? So people told us about Jim's Farmers Market, and we were trying to find Jim's Farmers Market and ended up finding Southgate Farmers Market. And there we met the Fulton Farm stand, and we met with the interns, and they were the nicest people we met at that time. And they told us about the market and about the produce, and there was Leroy's jerk chicken there. So we had a wonderful experience.
What happened to that?
Unfortunately, Leroy passed away a couple of years ago.
Okay, sorry to hear that, because that was good food.
It was great. So we just right away we fell in love with the market, and we were regular customers like Julia. And the other thing is I love to cook, and my wife, she's always she used to tell me, you need to start something, and I'm always okay. And then finally 2012 I started getting information, came to the market, got information from Julia, and we were kind of late for the being the vendor in that year, so didn't.
I feel like I need to interject.
Yes.
Because the question was, do you think that people would like hummus?
Yeah.
Do you think people would like falafel? Yes, please.
Yes. So it didn't happen that year, but then we waited a whole year, but we were still customers, and so then it happened 2013. We started our stand, and it's history from 2013. It was very successful from day one, and it just kept on growing every year.
And you're growing and about to do what?
We're about to open a restaurant downtown Chambersburg, right on the square.
There you go, Chambersburg. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So I want to talk kind of about the vendors, how you go about finding vendors. Do the vendors find you? Who's going to be in the lineup this year, if you want to get into some of that?
Sure. So it goes, both. We recruit vendors when we see a vendor that we think that would fit in well with our market family, and someone that the community would embrace. And we also have people that come to us, and they'll either contact us with questions or they will just send in their application. And then there's a review process for that. Okay. We like to keep a vendor balance. So we want, so many produce vendors, so many artisan craft vendors, and then prepared food, and then any kind of specialty type things. And so this year we have quite a few new vendors. We do still have applications pending in progress, so I'm not going to make anybody official yet. But the ones that we have right now, so our new vendors, we have Moses Family Jerky. So, yes, that's exciting. Pine Hill Primitives, that's craft. She's a craft vendor. Okay. Ubuntu Vegan Foods. So she'll be prepping vegan foods on site. Pecan Meadow Farms, their meats. Jessica knows about Pecan Meadow. Organic,
well, go ahead and talk
wide
about
variety.
It.
Yeah, go ahead.
So they are, just as Julia was saying, they are an organic wide variety. They do tons of growing their own grains. They also do their own popcorn, a diversity of different eggs. You can get quail eggs, you can get duck eggs, you can get the best bologna you've ever had.
The best bologna.
No, hands down, I promise.
I'm
It's
excited.
So good. Yeah, hold me to it, I dare you.
Okay.
Do they have beef?
They have a lot of like duck. I don't know if they're gonna bring beef to the market.
What I mean is beef bologna.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's good. So yeah, just a wide variety of meats that you often can't find. It's a fabulous family. Yeah. So
Where is their farm located?
Actually, I think is it Newburgh? Yeah, I believe it's in Newburgh. Mm-hmm.
Now, are most of the vendors kind of spread out like that, out in the countryside or over the mountain?
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah,
It depends.
sure.
Produce vendors tend to be, kind of out far where there's fields.
That's helpful. It's incredibly helpful to have some open space, isn't it?
But I have one more new vendor.
Sure, sorry.
Okay, Broadleaf Acres, and what I love about them is that they were a vendor 2 or 3 years ago, and they were sweet green smoothies.
Ooh.
And now they're back. They bought a farmette. They established their farmette, so they're coming back with produce, and they're also going to be making smoothies with their produce, which is super exciting.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let's just get a detail out of the way. Give the location and the hours.
Sure. So North Square Farmers Market is located on Main Street. So it's 50 North Main Street behind King Street Church. And we are open from 8 a.m. to noon from May 26th until October 20th.
Doesn't matter what the weather is, right?
Rain or shine, baby.
Okay, yeah. And there's plenty of parking, so it's very easy to get to. Now, what about the live entertainment? I've heard music on occasion. You have some live entertainment lined up?
Every Saturday we have live local musicians come and they play. It's generally from 9 to 11. They play all sorts of variety of music, and we're always looking for musicians that want to come, that want to play out, that want to try their new music. It's a perfect venue for that.
Now, the popularity of the market, I think it kind of speaks to a demographic change that our town is seeing. In the time you've worked with it, what have you seen about that? Because there is kind of more energy towards fresh food, towards organic food, towards unique foods like hummus and falafel. Have you seen kind of a demographic shift in the people that come to the market?
I wouldn't say a demographic shift. I would say an expansion. There's always the same. We're such a random sample of our community. Even if you look at our vendors, if you look at our customers, we're just a really good, I don't know what you would call it in statistics, but you take, it's congruent. It's a small amount to a larger amount. And we continue as the interest in the market grows, our sales grow, which is great for our vendors, and our customer base grows. And it's good for our community.
Now, is the market going to have to move?
The market will have to move. Yes, there's
Where are we
now
going?
the courthouse project. We are exploring options, but we want to be within walking distance to where we are now.
So do you have some potential locations?
We do. Nothing to speak of at the moment.
Okay. I think Jeremy just pointed at the parking lot right outside
His
the
backyard.
house, which would be ideal for him.
Right. Yep.
Right. So, as part of the application process, do you look at sustainability? Do you look at some of these long-term views of how food is produced, or how the vendors produce their food? Is that a part of it?
It is actually, yes. So our produce vendors need to be growing their produce within a 50-mile radius of the market. So that's how we keep it local.
Okay. And then do you look is there an organic certification you look at, or?
So, yes, but that's not necessarily required. Okay. So we do have produce vendors who are certified organic, ones that have growing practices where they do not use chemicals but are not legally certified organic. They're chemical free. We also have vendors who just choose not to use GMO seed and that sort of thing. So they're all different. And we've talked about including vendors who are just conventional or low spray. Like there's such a variety. I know with stone fruit, and Chris and Jessica, because Jessica has farming experience, but you guys can speak to this. I know with stone fruit in our area, it's super hard to have organic just because of our climate. So we look for people who are low spray, who are integrated pest management, that sort of thing, just to have so they have an awareness of keeping it low chemical, just for health reasons.
So talk about that a little bit. Why is it so hard for them to be fully organic in our area? What about the climate or the soil? What is it?
Right. Well, the stone fruits and apples also fall into that category. They're not native to our area. Apples, for instance, come from China and the Middle East in their native climate. So our growing conditions here are very different. We live in a valley that is very humid. And for that reason, there are a lot of disease and insects that trouble pests, that trouble these stone fruits and apples.
What is a stone fruit by definition? I'm sorry.
Oh, something with a pit in the middle, like a pear or a plum or a peach. I'm sorry, not a pear. A peach or a nectarine, plums.
Is the organic certification standard too high?
The standard's not too high, but the expense in maintaining it and the certification fees are what really cause a lot of farmers to look for other means of certification. We are USDA certified organic at Fulton Farm, but we also maintain certified naturally grown, which is a peer-to-peer certification that is a great option for folks who want a certification of sorts but don't have the funds or the means to pay that exorbitant price that the USDA certification demands.
Okay, so it comes down to an issue of money.
Oftentimes, yes.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yep.
I seem to be holding back. Amr, do you source some of your food through the vendors, or how do you source what you're using, what you're cooking?
So when in season, we try to get the produce from Fulton Farm. In past, we have bought produce from Fulton Farm. Then there's another organic farm, Bending Bridge Farm. We have gotten our produce from them. And also we try to be very conscious of the environment. So we try to use everything, like our dish, like your plates, everything like compostable, spoons compostable. We try not to use plastic bags, so we encourage our customers to bring their own bags, and hopefully in near future we'll have our own reusable bags available for customers. So yes, and when in season we try to get most of our things locally. Sure. And for our chickpeas, we try to get organic chickpeas, and we ordered from a local business here in Greencastle, Pure and Simple Cafe.
Why is sustainability important? Uh-oh. Quiet there.
That's a big question.
Yes.
Well, I think it's a reasonable question from the outside. You guys are kind of on the inside of this. So I'm looking from the outside, and maybe for the listeners, tell us why it's important.
Yeah. Sustainability is a difficult question because to each person it means something different. The way I like to define it is sustainability has three parts. It's the environment, it's the economy, and it's the ethics of whatever endeavor is involved. Our environment you can think of as where we live. The economy is how we live and how we make our living. But the ethics part, that third E, is how well we live. So when those three components come together right in the middle, that's when the system is considered to be sustainable, when our ethics, our environment, and our economies align.
How do ethics play into food from your perspective?
At the end of the day, it's like Chris says, it's just the intersection of making sound and mindful choices. I think we've been very, convenience is America. We can easily go out, and we're very busy people. And we always have something to do with not enough time. So often our choices are a reflection of that. So when you begin to step back and you unveil that mirror of what are my actions doing? Am I, instead of walking, am I using the car? These all have repercussions. It's like the butterfly effect, a ripple effect. There's a whole string of consequences or a whole string of effects that is tied to you. So when you begin to just step back and say, okay, well, if I am buying from all the way from Mexico, like this one tomato, what has it done, or how has it grown, or what has it taken to get? You just get a holistic picture of actually what you're eating. It's no longer just a tomato.
Right.
It's like it's
a moral dilemma.
It's a moral dilemma, and so I think at the end of the day, that then spreads into the rest of your life. How am I affecting another? How am I affecting the land? And I feel ethics is probably the most important thing we can do. And I think it's a reflection of all of us here today in our desire to stay in the market in this community. It's just to take care of each other in an ethical way.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds, it's an interesting concept to bring to food that I don't think a lot of people do. It's just kind of, they look at it, don't consider where it came from. Don't consider the energy it took to produce it and get it to you. And so, and the sustainability, it seems to me, is, what you're doing is exactly right. 50-mile radius, lowering that impact. And so people can feel good about the choices they make. Now I'm going to ask a really tough question. So you just arrived at the farmer's market. Where's the first place you're going?
Falafel Shack.
Falafel Shack.
You have to put your order in.
Oh, man, that was rigged.
No, it's so true.
Put your order in and then do your rounds.
And then come
back and pick it up.
Yeah, that's usually a wise choice. But we are better in giving out food now, so it doesn't take as long as it used to be.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. I mean, you can still come first to Falafel Shack, place your order, walk around, and come pick it up, or you can come anytime and your order will be ready soon.
All right. Well, now I'm hungry. What's new on the menu for this year?
Well, hopefully this Saturday I'm trying to bring this really one of our favorite dish at my house is eggplant salad. Jessica can
Yeah,
talk
it's
about
absolutely
it.
amazing. There's no other words. It's just bright and creamy and just full of flavor. You can have it warm or cold, but it tends not to last that long. So it's just,
You gotta eat it.
Yeah.
It's amazing, full flavor. Yeah.
So that's one of the dishes we're gonna bring. We're going to bring not this Saturday, but hopefully soon, samosas, vegetable samosas, which are pastries, triangular pastries filled with potato filling, potatoes and peas. And we'll have our usual, and we will try to bring as many dishes as we can throughout the season.
Go ahead.
And I think my favorite part has become is that people are actually bringing their own Tupperware containers to the Falafel Shack.
Oh, that's great.
And asking for that to be filled up.
Okay.
And in particular, we had countless rainy days, and everyone just kind of communes underneath the tents, and it's just a giant family. I mean, the market in itself, you ask, where do people go first? And it's really to each other. It has become such a huge meeting ground and a way to just become embedded in the community to honor each other. And I feel at the end of the day, that's what we all do and we yearn for. It's our common meeting place, and if
connection.
it's our connection. Yeah,
it is a fun thing just to go and sit and linger over your food and just kind of people watch, and that's kind of what I enjoy doing there. All right, anybody have anything else they want to add? Not all at once, maybe. We want to get that date out one more time, maybe.
So opening day is this Saturday, May 26th. We open at 8 o'clock. 9:30, there's a ribbon cutting, so you don't want to miss that.
Don't want to miss that. Also, got to get in line early for you-know-who.
There you go. Don't Look Down is playing the market, so they're our band for this Saturday. And, we're there every Saturday until October 20th.
Great. Thank you all so much for coming today. For all the listeners, if you haven't been, you gotta go. It's a lot of fun. The food is good. Everyone's smiling, and it's a wonderful time. So thanks again for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.